Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me. So I want to talk about the Tesla Model Y long range 7-seater as a family vehicle to haul 6 people around. Now guys, I just hit the 1-year anniversary of owning this car. I got this in October of 2023. It's now November 2024. Had it just about a year. I bought this and I transferred free supercharging from my 2015 Model S to this car. Tesla last year in Q4 2023. They were doing a promotion. If you had a car that had free supercharging on it and you bought a new car, you could transfer it to a new car. So I bought this car, and this has the 7 seats in it, and it has a tow hitch. Now, I didn't buy it with these wheels on here. These wheels are the upgraded 21-inch Uber turbine wheels. This one just came with the 19-inch Gemini wheels with the hubcaps. I sold those and bought these instead. I've had those on there for the last little bit. And I really like the look of this. So it looks like a performance version, even though it's a long-range car. The suspension on the long range sits a little bit higher than the performance, so there's a little more of a gap here. But this has a little bit bigger tire size than the performance wheels. Tire size I'm running on this is a 295 35/21 in the rear, and then the 275 55 I'm running in the front. So it's the same size that comes on the rear. I'm running on the front, and I'm running a larger tire. So it does give a little more sidewall. It gives the rim a little more cushion. It gives it a little more protection against curb rash and things like that. And the tire doesn't look as stretched across the rim. Now this is a pretty wide tire, a 295 for this car. I think it looks really good. So I want to talk about, is this car even suitable for a larger family when you have, you're going on road trips, you're taking a lot of luggage with you, to see if this car is even would be suitable for your situation. So for the last 2.5 years, we've had a GMC Yukon XL, a 2022, and it had the diesel engine, 10-speed transmission. That was an awesome road trip vehicle. And I recently sold that a couple months ago. Reason being is I have this Tesla, I've got another Model Y, I've got a Model S, and then I have a truck, GMC Sierra. So I've done videos on all those cars, but the Yukon just kind of sat. We weren't driving it. My wife was driving this every day. I drive the other Model Y every day. So we're putting all of our day-to-day miles on the Model Ys. And really, we were just taking the Yukon if we ever went on a road trip. So it's great for road trips, but I thought, you know what? I think we could get by with just having the Model Y as the family car, as the road trip car, and get rid of the Yukon XL. So a few weeks ago, we went on a road trip where we did 1,500 miles in this car, 7-seat, so 6 people, 7-seat, and all of our luggage. So in this video, I wanted to show you kind of like an overview of like all the luggage space you have in this. Was it practical? Kind of give you some feedback, especially if you're looking at something like this as like your main family vehicle to take trips in. All right, let's start here in the back so you can see how we have. So this is kind of how the 7-seat configuration works, where we have 1 seat up. Here's another seat. So you can do kind of like, you can do 6 or 7 passengers in this car. You got 3 here, you got 2 in the back, and then 2 in the very front. Now what we did luggage-wise is I had my daughter who's 12. She sat back here, and she was pretty comfortable. Actually, it was not bad at all. You can see how there's not a lot of leg room when this row is scooted all the way back. But what you can do is this row, when you have the 7-seat, is this row moves forward and back. So you can push this row forward, and it gives this area down here more legroom. So we had just one side down, one side up. So I had my daughter back here and my 3 boys here, and then wife and I there, and we put most of our luggage back here. So you've got some good luggage room here on the side. We just stack stuff right here. You can stack stuff right in here. You've got a little cubby right here. You can put things, and then another cool feature here is you have this like sub trunk area. And what we did is we use these like soft-sided luggage bags, kind of like luggage bags that you'd put inside of luggage. We kind of just had all our kids like stack all their stuff inside there. So we had like all of our stuff in there, shoes, luggage, all of our clothes kind of packed into here. So we've got that area. And this area was all full. You could put like a couple duffel bags here, duffel bag there, pillows, blankets, all that you could fit right there. So this area actually has some pretty good room, even with when you're hauling 6 people and you've got one of the seats up. So I like that you can do just 1 seat up, and then you've got storage room on this side here and then even down below. All right, I want to pop the front trunk because you also have front trunk space here as well. This is a great space as well. It's pretty deep. It's kind of a plastic tub. You can put like, wet things in there. Things stay dry, waterproof. There's a nice seal around the edges, so things are not going to get affected by the weather. It can get cold in here because it's not climate controlled, but I guess they get cold or hot depending on the temperature outside. But this is a pretty good storage area for luggage. So with having this area, the rear, get into the back. So because this back area was filled with luggage right here, you couldn't get, like my daughter couldn't get in from the back, so she had to get in through the front here. Let me show you what you can do here, is you can release that seat. You can actually do it from the other row. You can just reach over the back, lift that up. So she would get in right there, lift that up, and then the 3 kids would also kind of get in there. And it worked out pretty good. This area also has charging down here. There's 2 USB-C charging outlets right there. You can't really see them right there, but they're right in front of this cup holder. The cup holders really can't be usable when this is down. Got this little fan here. It's USB powered, and we could just clip this onto. You can clip it on like this headrest kind of lifts up. You can just kind of clip it on right there. There's little areas you can clip this onto, but it's kind of necessary to have some kind of a fan to get airflow back here, because with this row all the way up, there's not a lot of airflow, because really all you have is vents right there under that screen, and then they've got the vents in the front, so there's no real airflow back here. But this little fan here, with it being USB-C powered, it worked out pretty good, and was able just to power it off of the outlets here. Now it came with, this one in particular came with a USB-A plug, and I just got an adapter so it could fit the USB-C, and then we just used it right into the cup holder charger port right there. And so guys, really the point I want to show you kind of on the outside, all the storage that this car has, is that it's very adequate. So we had to pack a little bit light, maybe a little bit lighter than usual. And maybe it was just because we didn't take, like, not every person took like their own hard piece of luggage. Like normally it would take, every kid would have their own like roller size bag, like small luggage bag. And that really wouldn't fit in here. But if you use like smaller duffel bags, it actually fits in here pretty good, and we didn't really have to scrimp on space. We really were able to take everything we needed for like a 5-day trip in this car with 6 people. Also, even if we were not able to take everything we needed, we actually have, this car has a cargo hitch. So if your Model Y doesn't have a cargo hitch, you can actually add the tow hitch to the car. You can add it through the Tesla Service Center. They'll add it on. I think it's like $1,300 or something like that to add it on. And we could actually have put like a cargo carrier on the back here. We could have strapped some bins or a cooler to it or something. So we could have taken more stuff. The only reason we didn't need to do that, luckily, but I would be hesitant to do that only because at some supercharger locations, it's kind of hard to back in to the supercharger with that cargo carrier on the back. And you might have to like maybe pull in sideways, take up an extra space. You might have to take it off in some cases. So I wanted to avoid that at all possible, and we were able to fill the car up all of kind of the spaces that we needed to with all the luggage that we had. We go on road trips, I don't know, a handful of times a year or something, and we live out west where, you know, road trips, we're usually going 400 or 500 miles, our road trips, you know, each way and then back. And so they can be longer. We're not doing that all the time, though. I mean, you know, a handful of times a year, but the rest of the time, this car is being used for like daily driving. My wife running the kids everywhere, all their activities. Usually it's not all 6 of us riding in this car all the time. It's kind of rare, maybe once a week or so, we're all riding together at one time. Sometimes we'll meet somewhere. So we're not always riding in the same car. So with my wife and 3 kids in this, we don't have to use the 3rd row. We just use, you know, the 2nd row. And then one of the kids, since they're older, they sit in the front seat. And so this works really great for day-to-day use too, because it's small, it's compact, it's really easy to maneuver in parking lots. It's not a big vehicle to park. It's got great storage. You know, you can take this to Costco or Sam's Club and, you know, fill up the back. You got a lot of storage for that kind of stuff. It's very efficient as well, power usage. You know, it doesn't use a ton of electricity, so it's very efficient, very cheap to operate. So for a lot of those reasons, it's great for a day-to-day vehicle, but we found out that it's also great for road trips because we can all fit in this, and we can also put all of our luggage in this. So we have a road trip coming up the end of this month, and kind of do a little more detail on that. Now, let's talk about the charging. So doing a road trip and charging using the Tesla Supercharger network, this car has free supercharging as long as I own the car. If I ever transfer this car to someone else, the free supercharging goes away. So my intention is to keep this car until the wheels fall off, kind of a thing, because it has free supercharging. The Model Y charges great at a superchargers, fast, 250 kilowatts. Now, as an example, this car, when I filled it up 100%, which on road trips I usually start off with 100%, the car can calculate like where you need to stop, how long you need to charge, the stops that you need to make. At 100% charge from my house to 700 miles away, which our destination was, it said we only need to stop 3 times, which I was actually really surprised it was only going to be 3 times. Now, we ended up stopping 5 times on the way down there and received about 210 kilowatt hours of electricity from the superchargers on our way down there. So total kilowatt usage for a 1,500-mile road trip was 432 kilowatts. Now, that's just the amount of used at the supercharger. Now, because this car has free supercharging, obviously that was free. So that was a huge reason why we want to take this car, because that was basically a free trip for us to go to road trip in this car. There was no cost to use that. So if we take 39 cents per kilowatt hour and multiply that by the total amount of energy used from the superchargers, which was 432 kilowatts, times by 39 cents, it would have been around $168, $169 to charge this car on a approximately 1,500-mile road trip in this car. And that's not that bad. That's actually less than I thought it would be. I saved that money. So if you're looking at this car, if you're looking for a Model Y as like a family car and you've got like 3 or 4 kids, this actually is pretty sufficient. It might be a little cramped depending on how big your kids are. Now, we didn't have any car seats. It can get a little cramped if you have to get car seats or boosters. We didn't have any of those, which is nice. But the kids are fine. Like, there's plenty of legroom underneath the seats here. Like I said, these seats kind of move forward to give the back row a little more legroom. This is kind of the average watt hour per mile over the entire last year, 12,000 miles that we've driven, 292 watt hours per mile, which really isn't too bad. If you can get under 300 miles with these wheels, that's pretty good. Now, another thing that made this car really awesome on this road trip is currently we have a free trial for FSD, the full self-driving software subscription. So I normally don't pay for that in this car, but we have a free trial right now through Tesla. And even if you don't have it fully paid for, like when you buy the car, you can pay $8,000 and you get the full self-driving package unlocked and you can use it on the car. And it's really come a long way over the last year or so. I think it's done a fantastic job. But the fact that I could put in my destination to the next supercharger, hit the stalk down, and just have it drive there, and I just have to basically watch it. If you're wearing a hat or sunglasses, it makes you like touch the wheel. But if you don't have a hat or sunglasses on, it can see your eyes. It doesn't nag you to touch the steering wheel. So it changes lanes. It keeps up its speed. It knows to get off the exit. I mean, it just makes the driving experience so much more relaxing in this car because it's basically driving itself. You're just monitoring it. You're supervising it. You can subscribe to the full self-driving package or software. It's $100 a month, and it's month to month. So if like in a few months down the road, we're going to do another road trip, I would subscribe to the full self-driving for that month, pay the $99, and that way I have access to it on the road trip because it just makes it so much nicer. Because if you just have the base autopilot, you're on autopilot, you want to change lanes, you have to disengage the autopilot, re-engage it, and then so you have to re-engage it every time you change lanes, and that's kind of annoying. And so I like that the FSD does all that for you. It makes it a lot more smooth. Just more relaxing, and wasn't like stressed out when I got out of the car after driving for like 3 hours, which is cool. Guys, so Model Y 7-seater is an impressive car. It is a little tight in the back seat, but kids are fine sitting back there. And my daughter was able to sit back there for, it was almost a 11-hour drive each way, 22 hours total. And she was fine. She did great. Like there was really no complaints. Just have that fan back there just to kind of cool things down a little bit. And really worked out pretty good. So if you're wondering, is the Model Y 7-seater a good family car if you've got 5, 6, 7 people? I think it is. It's worked great for us. I don't really have the need or desire to go buy another big SUV. We're going to use this thing. Now, this is kind of unique because it does have the free supercharging. So we kind of we're going to make do with this because it's going to save us every time we want to go on a road trip. It's going to be a no-cost road trip because of the free supercharging in this. So that's a really cool benefit. Not all of these Ys have that, obviously. Very few do. But even if you have to pay for the supercharging, like I said, $170 to go about 1,500 miles, that really isn't too bad. That's pretty reasonable. I think that's a little cheaper than gas, but everyone fits in here just fine. Guys, stay tuned to the channel. We're going to do kind of more update video as we do another road trip at the end of this month. I'll give you guys kind of an idea of how everyone fits, all the luggage, and then some more supercharger stuff. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Be sure to leave your comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Thanks.